Hi guys, welcome back to my Halloween reviews, and today we're going to be discussing Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. Donald Pleasence is back again for the 5th time as Dr. Loomis, and Paul Rudd is in this one. He plays an adult version of little Tommy Doyle from the original Halloween. The Curse of Michael Myers is the movie in the franchise that tries to explain why Michael is the way he is, why he's the unstoppable force of nature, why he kills people, most notably why he kills his family members. As most of you know, with watching a lot of horror movies, when a movie tries to explain the past from past movies, we just know that the movie's not going to be very good, because any movie that tries to explain something that happened years ago just fails miserably, and it tries to take away, or it does take away, from what the mystery of the first movie was all about. Now for this review, I watched both versions of this movie. I watched the theatrical cut and producer's cut of the film, so there's not much difference. I watched them back to back. There's not too much difference. Most notably, the ending was the biggest difference, and some of the score, but we'll go into that. So yes, I watched both versions of the movie, so we'll be discussing both of them in the same review. The film starts off with a really bad aspect ratio. It looked like it was intentional because the aspect ratio was so off, everybody was all stretched, and then it went into this kind of slow motion, then fast motion effects of Jamie as she was giving birth. It felt like a dream sequence, even though it wasn't a dream sequence, and that put me off straight away. After that small sequence with Jamie giving birth, it cuts to Haddonfield, and we hear on the radio that Michael Myers is now a nationwide phenomenon. He's no longer this little, the storyline of Michael Myers is no longer this little sleepy town of Haddonfield. It's more global now, maybe not global, but nationwide, and it just makes the story of Halloween feel a little bit too bloated now. It feels less isolated, and that's what we liked about the original Halloween movie. It was like an isolated movie with isolated incidents, but now everybody knows about Michael Myers, and he's now celebrated in Haddonfield. They've improved the Myers house in this one. It still doesn't look exactly like it was in 1978. That's because it's went through a little bit of reconstruction. It seems like everyone's trying to forget about Michael Myers, especially the people that are living in the house. They don't want people to associate that house as the Myers house, even though everybody knows about it. But it is a vast improvement on Halloween 5's Myers house, because that looked nothing like the Myers house. Halloween 6's movie, it doesn't look like the Myers house at all, but at the interior, the way it moves around, yes, it does reminds me of the original Myers house, so it's a little bit better than Halloween 5's Myers. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that is the Thorn storyline. Now most of you will know that I hate the Thorn storyline. It's got nothing to do with what the original was all about, but they had to move forward. They had to try and get with the times. This was the mid-90s. The mid-90s saw a lot of kind of witchcraft stuff going on, and they probably thought, let's just continue on with the Thorn storyline. They teased us with it in Halloween 5, but they brought it forward. They waited 6 years to bring this out, and they decided, let's just go ahead with the Thorn storyline. There's a little bit of backstory behind that, but ultimately they did go with the Thorn storyline. So it felt like this sort of Jason Goes to Hell, which was only 2 years prior. It felt like Jason Goes to Hell with the whole voodoo thing, and it just didn't work. You had Michael Myers leaving his mark. After some crime scenes, he leaves the Thorn symbol burnt into haystacks. It's just not Michael Myers. In the 25 Years of Terror documentary, they talk about Halloween 6 in this, and they talk about all the cast and crew members disowning the film. During filming it, they all fought with each other about what's happening, and ultimately nobody liked the script, yet they still went ahead with it. So when you watch the final cut, and even when the cast watched the final cut, it was badly directed and badly edited. They just didn't care. They didn't really want to finish the film. It was that bad. Now, there was a few scripts written for this film. Donald Pleasence, apparently, again, this is all hearsay, but Donald Pleasence read the script, so they say, and he liked the script, so he signed on to be Dr. Loomis once again for the final time. And after he signed on, they changed the script, they rewrote it, and he didn't like it apparently, but because he signed on, the sort of contract that he signed meant that he still had to act in it anyway. And you can tell, just like Halloween 5, he didn't like it, and it came through when he was acting. Donald Pleasence, again, I've said it time and time again, he's a good actor, but for Halloween 5, I didn't like his role in the film, and the exact same for this one. I didn't like his role. in Halloween 6. Now, as you are aware, Danielle Harris didn't reprise her role as Jamie Lloyd. She demanded $5,000 for the role, and they declined that. They didn't want to pay her $5,000 for the role, and I think it's because she was still young at the time. She wasn't over 18, and they wanted an adult to play Jamie Lloyd so that she could work longer hours. So even Danielle Harris herself tried to disown herself from her family. She signed some sort of legal agreement that she was her own adult and she could make her own decisions. She went through a lot of that and paid a lot of money through the courts to do this. And all she wanted back from the producers of Halloween was the funds that she spent to be legally classified as an adult. And they said, no, you still can't be Jamie Lloyd. So a lot of fans were angry with that. Obviously, I was too young at the time, I didn't really care. But a lot of fans were angry, and even some of the cast and crew members were angry. So the girl that played Jamie ultimately didn't have a good time filming because nobody really liked her on set. It was a shame, but again, my point being is, I'm glad it was an adult that played her, because the storyline of Jamie just got weirder and weirder. In this one, she plays a 15-year-old and she's given birth to a baby. Now that would probably mean that she was pregnant at 14 years old, but the movie didn't address the fact that a 14-year-old / 15-year-old got pregnant and is having a baby. They just seen it as not normal, because obviously it wasn't normal circumstances, but she gave birth and nobody in the film said, oh no, she's a 15-year-old girl who gave birth. It was just normal for them. Now what makes it even worse is, in the producer's cut, they'll quite simply confirm that this baby belongs to Michael, her uncle, and again, they don't really address that in the fact that that's wrong. The girl just says, Michael, it's your baby. As if, yeah, I mean, it's your baby. It's so bizarre. So yeah, I'm kind of glad that Danielle Harris didn't reprise her role as Jamie Lloyd, and I think she's probably watching it back thinking, that was a lucky escape. Now moving on to Michael, there's not much I can say about the actor that played Michael Myers. He was a lot older than Michael Myers' character, and you can tell with the way he walked. I've said this before, but the mask that they used in this film was like a big clay face that was just hanging off him. The neck was a way out, and anytime he moved you could see it jiggling. It was just the wrong mask to use. It wasn't scary at all. It was just looked like a clay face. Nothing like the original Michael Myers mask, and nothing like the sequel masks either. So one of the worst masks in my opinion so far, from 1 to 6 obviously, that I've been reviewing. So yeah, the mask didn't help. Michael just seemed a little too brutal as well. I've said this before. Going back to the original Michael Myers, it wasn't the brutal guy that he is in this one, so it took me out of that Michael Myers zone that I was in from the original movie. And I will always compare these sequels to the original one, because that's what they're trying to emulate, the original Michael Myers and the original Halloween. So it was brutal, but again, it was the mid-90s, that's what they wanted, so that's fine. For a Halloween movie, for a horror movie, the death scenes and the brutality were on point. I would say that they were good for a horror movie, but for a Halloween movie and for the Michael Myers that I know, it's not him. But again, I can completely understand why they done it. I think the Man in Black was stupid as well. There was no reason for the Man in Black to be there, but again, they wanted this Thorn storyline to continue, so that's what they wanted. And even little Danny's like, oh, the voice man's here. I mean, it's like they're trying to again copy the boogeyman or the shape. It was just wrong, and it felt forced. And I've watched the theatrical cut lots of times since I was a kid. I've watched the producer's cut about 3 times now, and to be honest, I still don't fully understand the whole story of the curse of Michael Myers. Yes, most of the film is about him trying to end his bloodline, and it's about he's getting his power from the thorn, but it just doesn't really explain a lot. And looking into the documentaries and reading a lot about the producer's cut and the theatrical cut, they still don't understand what they were trying to do. The scripts were so messed up. They've admitted this time and time again in documentaries and interviews. So it left us with, no matter what cut you watch, an unfinished film and an unfinished script. So I think that if you wanted to make a Thorn storyline, it could have been completed in a better way. But if you ask me personally, if you wanted to write a proper script for a Halloween movie, it wouldn't feature anything to do with the Thorn. If you ask me if I prefer the theatrical cut or the producer's cut, There's some things that I like about the theatrical cut, and there's some things I like about the producer's cut. If they maybe mixed it together with the positives that I have for them, it might have been slightly better. For example, I don't like the thorn aspect, so the producer's cut is a no-no for me. I think we see less of the thorn in the theatrical cut, even though it's still all the way through it, but we see less of it, especially in the finale. But I do like the score and the themes in the producer's cut, and I hear that they had to use old material, as in old score and themes from other Halloween movies in the producer's cut to get it complete. I think you can hear quite a lot of Halloween 4 and 5 in it as well. I think that fitted to a Halloween movie better than what we got in the theatrical cut. The theatrical cut felt too modern, as in 90s modern, and rock for me. So I think the producer's cut score and themes were better, but the storyline, if there even was a storyline, the theatrical cut was better for me. And the same goes for the ending of the movies. I preferred the theatrical cut because it was your typical Michael Myers getting beaten up at the very end and then disappearing. That was acceptable for the type of movie that it was and for the era that it came out. So I would say the theatrical cut was better in that aspect. But when you look at the producer's cut, you see a kind of body swap similar to Halloween H2O and Resurrection, where Michael swaps his outfit with the man in black. He's on the ground, and then Donald Pleasence pulls the mask off and he's like, oh no, where's Michael? And he's like, I don't know. And then Michael is away in the background with the man in black's uniform. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then to top that off, the thorn symbol comes on to Dr. Loomis. He's now been marked with the thorn. I mean, you couldn't make this shit up. Now, the positives for this film, and I have to admit this, there's not that many. In fact, I don't think there is any. It was filmed in the fall, so I think the look and feel of this movie was very Halloween-y, if you could say that. It was set at Halloween, obviously. Everybody was dressed up. It did feel like more of a Halloween-themed movie than some of the previous Halloween movies. So that's a positive, I would say. The only other positive, it's got nothing to do with the film, it's just one scene that I kind of liked, was when Tommy was trying to bash down one of the doors with this fire extinguisher, and he sees Michael coming and he just gives him a little kind of smile, like a crazy smile, and he starts trying to bash the door down again with the fire extinguisher. Nothing to do with the final point of the movie, but I quite enjoyed that scene. Now, after my review for Halloween 5, I was expecting a little bit better for The Curse of Michael Myers. I do remember hating The Curse of Michael Myers more than Halloween 5 as a kid and even as a teenager, but getting into it again after watching Halloween 5, before I pressed play on either version of Halloween 6, I thought to myself, maybe I will like this film better, because a lot of people do say online they actually do quite like Curse of Michael Myers. So I thought to myself, I'm going to give it a chance, because surely it can't be as bad as Halloween 5. Unfortunately, it is just as bad, maybe slightly worse than Halloween 5 to me. There is a lot wrong with Halloween 5, and what they do with that is bring those wrong things over to Halloween 6 and mix it with other wrong things around it. So it's just a bad movie, and one that I hate watching. I will watch it. For some reason, I do watch Halloween The Curse of Michael Myers quite a lot, and I think it's just because I want to watch all the Halloween movies, that's all. But apart from that, I could do without it. So what do you guys think of Halloween The Curse of Michael Myers? Do you like it? And if you do, which version do you prefer, the theatrical cut or the producer's cut? Leave your comments down below. Anyway guys, thanks a lot for watching again, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.